Hello, everybody, and happy Monday. We're kicking off this new work week with some gloomy skies out there, but don't let that fool you. We're still going to get very warm this afternoon. That's what you can expect for those temperatures is in the 90s, and those hot conditions are going to continue into your Tuesday too. Then we'll start to try to break up that heat, especially Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll be feeling a lot better by the time we wrap up this work week, but we do have to clear some rain chances and some first warns to get there because we're going to enter a more unsettled pattern outside and over our heads in the atmosphere that's going to deliver us with daily rain chances, not just today and tomorrow, but all the way through Saturday. So we're definitely settling into a wetter weather pattern. I want you to be prepared for that. So I'm going to break down absolutely everything that you need to know. First, keep in mind that we do have some cloud cover on hand today. That means that we have some moisture in the air. We can see that cloud cover out there on our Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing camera. And while for some of us today, that's brought us just a couple spotty showers, really nothing to write home about. And this is not the rain chance that's going to be more likely today. That actually arrives later on this evening with another chance to find some spotty showers, but maybe an isolated rumble of thunder or two to wrap up your Monday evening. But as I mentioned, rain chances continue day after day all the way into the weekend. So those clouds have helped us out a bit, helping current temperatures for a lot of us stay in the 70s so far today. That's been nice, but again, still looking to reach the 90s later on, as what we've done essentially all weekend long. Couple of those afternoons even brought us temperatures enough to break records over at KCI. So that's just another way to show you how warm it has been out there and how unseasonably warm it continues to be today. Highs today for vast majority of us going to be in the 90s, but the low 90s. So kind of very similar to what we saw yesterday, especially with some of that cloud cover that we have on hand today. We had that yesterday too. You won't notice a huge difference between today versus your Sunday that we just went through. But also today's feels like temperatures will be the same too, getting up into about the mid 90s at the warmest once we factor in that humidity and again that moisture that we have out there. So it's going to feel even warmer than the numbers you see there on your screen, but those numbers could still be record rivaling. Forecast high today exactly equal to the hottest on record for today on your September 15th over at KCI. That other hottest September 15th that we're going to rival out in the record books today was set back in 2018, just 7 years ago. So this is not a long-standing record, but definitely still a notable one, especially after those other records that we already set over at KCI this weekend. As I've mentioned a couple times, those 90s are going to stick around for a bit longer. We'll try and hold on to those as that afternoon high on your Tuesday. Slightly cooler than today. We're just going to reach right at 90, but still feeling like the mid 90s. So temperature wise, we're not doing a whole lot of changing into your Tuesday. We'll also have some cloud cover on your Tuesday, so looking out the window, it's going to look very similar then too. Check out what happens Wednesday though. That's when we really start to bring in some changes, and we have some signals of that in our temperatures. We'll try to get down to the mid 80s, which is going to be a nice change for sure. But as I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, we're going to have to fight through some rain chances to get that cool down as multiple chunks of energy pass overhead and bring us those daily rain chances. So here's where I want to go moving forward in the rest of the changes that we'll find this week. So after that heat breaks down, those 90s will head off the board. We'll welcome in the 80s fondly, and then we'll try to bring in that rain chance at an even higher likelihood. So that's Wednesday and Thursday are going to bring us the greatest shots of rain. That's 50% on Wednesday at this time and 40% Thursday at this time. But both of those days have first warns in place and are days that we are watching incredibly closely. So let's talk about those rain chances moving forward throughout the next several days so that you can see how the bulk and the greatest chance for rain does arrive midweek, but how we still linger those rain chances into Friday and Saturday. And even on the front end of that, we have these lower rain chances bookending that meat of the forecast right in the middle of the week this week, when Wednesday and Thursday and those first horns come into play, but still possible we find further rain today and on your Tuesday too. So let's walk through it. For Monday and Tuesday, we have higher resolution data on hand. That means that we are able to get a clearer picture of what's going to happen with these rain chances. And I think that this model is doing a pretty good job with the rain that we've already found today. You could see right at that 10 o'clock hour how it's bringing in those spotty showers in our northernmost communities, pretty much exactly what we're seeing outside right now. While a select few of us may find a few more raindrops this morning and into the early afternoon, that greater chance for rain that I was talking about and why we really have that 20% chance of rain today is for the late afternoon and evening time. We can start to see future track radar bringing in some colors on the map. That starts with the greens, but then eventually trying to find pockets of yellows, oranges, and maybe even reds as brief, heavier rainfall is possible today, as well as some rumbles of thunder. Now today, and I'll mention this again for your Tuesday, but essentially the next 2 days and these next two rain chances, we're not worried about severe weather concerns. It's more so just pop up, pop down showers and thunderstorms that try to get up and going during the heat of the day and then linger into the evening time. We don't have quite enough of our thunderstorm and severe weather ingredients to give us a cause for concern on that. Of course, we'll watch things, and if things develop more than what all of our forecasting and all of our models are anticipating, of course we'll keep you updated. But just know that these next two rain chances we're not worried about, they're just there. So as we go into your Tuesday morning, kind of similar to today, but just maybe a touch more activity as you're getting out the door. Some greens out there, some spotty passing showers is essentially what that is. Some cloud covered too, we'll probably see in the morning. Then as we clear lunchtime, like today, more spotty showers possible, but then here's an even greater shot to find rain than today is on your Tuesday. That's why Tuesday has a 30% chance of rain. Again, we're still not worried about severe weather concerns, but you can see there on the map how some isolated thunderstorms do try to get up and going and maybe turning scattered. So a greater coverage of those showers and thunderstorms through the mid to late afternoon. Evening time, even still, let me back that up. A lot of data just flew by. Evening time, even still, we could see how those showers and thunderstorms trying to hang on in the area, potentially even in the metro around dinner time and then into the rest of your evening too. While the intensity of the rain and the thunderstorm chances drop off pretty quickly after sunset, the rain chances themselves don't. Still possible that we find some light to moderate rainfall out there as we're heading to bed on your Tuesday. Could make things a little soggy if you have any Tuesday evening plans. We're keeping a very close eye on that Royals game tomorrow. Then once we get into Wednesday, that's when things really start to change. We bring in a greater chance for rain. Let's review. Monday and Tuesday, 20% and then 30% chance of rain. Possible that we find some rumbles of thunder each day, but Tuesday has the greater likelihood of that. Both of those afternoons also stay in the 90s. Then Wednesday, we bring in that first one. We have another one in place on Thursday for an increased chance of rain and an increased impact from that rain potential. So let's break down Wednesday and Thursday specifically, spend some quality time with it so that you know what you can expect as you head into midweek and we enter a more impactful weather pattern. And that impactfulness comes from those increased rain chances that we have both of those days. So there's your Wednesday and your Thursday with those first warns in place, but let's look at what the data is really showing us and this blurrier view that we can see of this rain from our longer range data. Here's that first one on your Wednesday. We're looking drier to start the day, but then in the early afternoon, likely find more cloud cover, maybe some light rain before the evening time comes. The evening hours on your Wednesday are going to be the greatest chance to find rain out there. Now, again, this is a lower resolution look at what we could find from that rain on Wednesday, but still, we're agreeing with the data that it looks to be an evening round of rain as that first chunk of energy rolls through and tries to bring us that first greater shot for rain. With Wednesday, we're also looking at higher coverage, meaning that more of us are likely to see rain on your Wednesday evening. Then into Thursday morning, kind of similar thing. We start off a bit drier initially, and then we try to bring in a round of rain and maybe some thunderstorms to start your day. So Thursday, we're having to keep a close eye on that morning commute. We also have that first warn in place on Thursday to cover that too, because it's looking to be a bit wetter to start Thursday than these next 3 days will be. Maybe we have a lull in that activity throughout your Thursday late morning and early afternoon. Some light rain still possible before then another round tries to pull through. Another disturbance in the atmosphere tries to deliver us with that rain chance and thunderstorm chance to close out your evening. We can see that there all the way into your Friday early morning, pre-dawn, but then we dry out through the rest of your Friday morning into lunchtime before then bringing back another chance of rain. Fridays, though, especially on this model, looking a lot drier, so we brought that back to a 30%. We do not have a first warn on Friday or on Saturday's rain chances. Wednesday and Thursday, though, we do, and it's as we start to find that more unsettled pattern with the greater chances for rain out there. Wednesday, as I mentioned, we're eyeing that evening rain chance. Originally, it was looking like we could have 2 rounds of it. It's not looking quite as likely anymore. I think we stay dry for the first half of Wednesday, at least for the most part, before we bring in that greater chance and greater coverage of rain and potentially some thunderstorms too on your Wednesday evening. Thursday, though, looks like we could find even more rain on top of pretty saturated grounds in some spots that catch more rain on Wednesday. So when we bring in a moderate to heavy rainfall potential on your Thursday, some downpours are possible. We'll have enough moisture in our atmosphere, we're thinking, to do that. So we'll just have to keep an eye out for puddling out there, maybe some localized ponding, especially that Thursday morning commute, and then that Thursday evening time too, when we're trying to get out and about, get early start maybe on some weekend plans, but could be a little wet out there is what we're seeing right now. At this time, I do want to mention we're not overly concerned about severe weather potential, but that is something that we'll have to watch and could change over the next couple days. So we already have that first warn in place for you. We've had it in place yesterday too, to get you ahead and get you prepared for the potential impact of these rain chances. At the very least, looks to just be a wet couple of days, but we'll let you know if that thunderstorm potential does look to swing on the stronger side. In terms of how much rain we could get, because we are getting a clearer picture of what that's going to look like, could be a decent amount. Now, we've been incredibly dry so far this month and August. If you look out the window, you can see it. The grass is crunchy. The leaves are a little brown in some spots, but this could deliver us with a pretty healthy drink of water that we need. So this is a look at rain totals and potential rain totals through Friday. Reminder that those rain chances, though, go through Saturday, so we could tack on a couple more 10ths of an inch to these totals there, these forecast totals, but up to an inch is possible in some spots. Some others who may miss out on that rain more than they get hit with some rain could be less than that significantly, about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, but we need the rain. I know it's not the most convenient thing in the world, but our environment desperately needs it, as we have been dry for quite some time. Let's get you a look at that Security Bank 7-day forecast that really shows you everything you need to know there about all of those rain chances and how they stick on the board all the way through Saturday. So, in in the meantime, I should say, we drop back down to the 70s. So we do look to coast into this upcoming weekend on a much cooler note. That will definitely be a nice treat after having to deal and dodge all those raindrops and rumbles throughout the next 6 days or so. But know that it's a good idea to keep that rain gear close by. And of course, we'll always keep you updated and prepared. Taylor will be back in just a minute with a look at your headlines.
Happy Monday and welcome into the live desk. I'm Taylor Johnson here with Carolina Cruz. How are you this morning, Carolina?
I'm good. We're rocking and rolling.
Yes, we are. How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. We had a wedding to go to, a family wedding, and we got to take our little girl, and she was tearing it up on the dance floor. They played the Macarena, and
Did she learn? Did she?
This is her.
She know where to touch.
Confidence is key, though. She acted like she knew what she was doing at 2 years old.
Look, I love it. Slaying the dance floor. We love that for
What about yours?
It was fun. A lot going on. I would have to say one of my highlights is that I did puppy yoga.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they had like little Frenchies and little English bulldogs walking around. So it wasn't very productive. I got like maybe 2 good stretches in.
Yeah.
And that was
I'm
about
sure
it.
I'm sure the pups got lots of stretches and sleeps.
Yes.
Were they up for adoption?
That's a good question. I think that they were, but not where we were. So we had
Okay.
to like contact the breeder afterward if
Sure.
we wanted them.
Ugh.
But mine was like the last class of the day. I think they had like 4 or 5 of them. So by the end of our class, all those pups, they were climbing on people and they were gone.
They were zonked.
They worked so hard, and our crews have been working hard to
Yes.
bring us the latest news. So let's get into our first story here.
Yeah, let's dive into some of these local headlines. We're talking about this bill to shake up Missouri's congressional district. This is a big talker and has been here for weeks. It's going to be heading now to Governor Mike Kehoe's desk. So we're talking about these new maps that would send voters from Democrat Emmanuel Cleaver's district, which is District 5. It would push them into Districts 4 and 6, and it would pave the way here for another Republican seat to be made up here. So the plan would be to basically leave Cleaver out of office. Our KCTV5's Nathan Brennan has been following this extensively for us and joins us from downtown Kansas City.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Brennan in downtown Kansas City. The battle for redistricting continues another week. So last week, the Missouri House, the Missouri Senate approved new congressional maps, which means that is now on Governor Mike Kehoe's desk. He will ultimately sign off for that final approval. But that does not mean that redistricting is a done deal. So there are several steps still that need to happen. Later today, courts will hear a lawsuit from the NAACP. They say that redistricting is unconstitutional when it's outside of a census. That's not the only thing that's happening. So there's also lawmakers within the Senate and within the House that are planning on holding a referendum. That means that within 90 days of Governor Kehoe's signature, there needs to be 100,000 petition signatures to ultimately put this up to a vote. So again, a lot is happening right now. We should hear from Governor Kehoe within the coming days, but that does not mean that redistricting is set in stone. Of course, there is still a lot of moving pieces, and as always, you can follow us on our KCTV5 News app for all of those latest updates.
All right, to our next story of the day. The first night of Halloween Haunt at Worlds of Fun turned into terror that people didn't sign up for over the weekend. The entire park was evacuated Saturday night after reports of gunfire, but thankfully, police say no shots were fired. But many visitors were left shaken during what was meant to be a fun Halloween tradition.
It was very scary. Unfortunately, I did trample someone. I knocked someone over in the midst of it. I stopped to help pick him up, but that's how intense it was. It was complete pandemonium.
The park did reopen yesterday, and a spokesperson said several guests received minor injuries while leaving the park.
It's a very scary situation there, yeah.
Yeah.
Jury selection is beginning today for the man accused of killing a North Kansas City police officer. You might recall Joshua Rocha is charged with capital murder in the death of Officer Daniel Vasquez. The Clay County prosecutor is seeking the death penalty here in this case. It would be the first time in 30 years that it's being pursued in the county. Vasquez was killed back in 2022 during a traffic stop. Rocha's trial is set to begin on September 29th.
And the grip of deadly violence in our community continues this morning. Police searching for the suspect or suspects behind a double homicide this weekend. Now, here's what we know in this case. Someone shot and killed two men at El Mercado Fresco just east of Blue Ridge Boulevard yesterday morning. KCTV5's Gabby Luma joins us with more information.
Two men are dead after a double homicide shooting here outside the El Mercado Fresco in Kansas City, just off Blue Ridge Boulevard. Now, the store closed yesterday as one of their own employees perished in this incident. Now, this sign here says, La tienda estará cerrada el día de hoy, reabriría mañana. That means that the store was closed yesterday, el día de hoy, today. So this was written yesterday that the market will open again today, and you can see the lights inside. We've already seen a couple of employees walk in. Now, again, police are still looking for anyone with any information. They're still looking for suspect or suspects in this case. There's a $25,000 reward attached to this if anyone has any information. And as the community continues to mourn, there are already actually a couple candles here outside of the market.
Heads up to downtown travelers. If you've had to make some different arrangements for your transportation, no need to do so anymore. The streetcar is back in service. It's been 5 days of track and wire work. Cars were back up and running Saturday morning, and crews say much of this work was actually preparing for that Main Street extension, and that is set to open October 24th.
So I want to ask you, you live on the other side of the state line.
I live in the burbs. Yeah.
So I'm like, do you take the streetcar at all? Do you go out of your way to take the streetcar sometimes?
So I've taken the streetcar, yeah, and I find it super convenient. So when I was at Rockhurst University, the streetcar and this free ridership was kind of new still. And I remember we took the streetcar multiple times. I mean, whether it was like a volunteer or just they really promoted it. It was part of like a program that they did, UMKC Rockhurst and the streetcar. I think it's fantastic. I wish the streetcar kind of traveled further south.
Yeah.
And I could get on it. That would be fantastic.
For sure. And I do like now that it's going to be toward the plaza area, because I feel like that's a good place to have it too. And so I've now moved to a part of town where the streetcar is like a few blocks away. So I need to get into the habit of using it. I tried to use it yesterday to go to Power and Light, but I was too late. I think as soon as I got to like the end of the block, it was going ding, 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 ding down the street.
Bye-bye. You gotta wait.
So I just kept walking. But yeah, I do want to use it more. And I like that it's free as well. I think that just eases such a burden for people. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into our next story. So I have never heard of this place until we started covering this. So this will be interesting. This is Wally's and Independence leaders. They're going to discuss plans for this massive new gas station tonight. So Wally's Travel Center recently bought land off Nolan Road near I-70 with proposals calling for more than 80 fueling stations. Tonight's council meeting will be the ordinance's first public reading, but no vote on the full project is expected just yet. So I know about, like, of course we have Quick Trip here. I've never been to a Buc-ee's.
Okay.
So I do know about it. Where I'm from, we have Wawa.
Sure.
And we have one called Sheetz and Royal Farms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think Wally's and Buc-ee's is kind of interesting. I think they're going to kind of be dueling. But, I mean, Buc-ee's is just massive. It's humongous.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete with that one.
Yeah, and this one, I mean, if it's like they're talking about 80 stalls to pump your gas. And imagine if it's like packed. That would be ridiculous. But anyway.
Hopefully you won't have to wait. Yeah.
We'll see, I guess.
Let's talk about Kansas City now. There are new ordinances and rules in place targeting tow companies. This is months after reports of predatory towing. We have heard many complaints from you, the viewers, here into our newsroom. So now there's going to be a driver's bill of rights. It's setting clear guidelines for that pricing, the billing, and then tows from any crash scenes and also from any private property if somebody called to get your vehicle towed. However, the Missouri Tow Truck Association now is saying they should have had more input in creating this ordinance.
My concern is someone that is going out there and doing the right thing. If they, accidentally don't do one of these little steps, they could, potentially be charged with something when there was no fraud intended.
Okay, so the rules also lay out procedures for any cars that might be stolen and then towed, police authorized tows, and tows requested by property owners. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I know this has been a hot topic for a while. So here's something a little lighter. If you want to be part of all the World Cup action, then you are in luck. So you have until early October to apply as a volunteer. Around 6,000 volunteers will be needed to help make the tournament a success in the metro. Now, applicants must be at least 18, and you can find all the details on our website right here, KCTV5.com.
That'll be so exciting.
Yes.
Happening tomorrow, Jackson County voters can cast their ballots early in the recall election of County Executive Frank White Jr. Even though Election Day isn't until September 30th, in-person no excuse absentee voting begins tomorrow. Keep that in mind. If you do want to vote by mail, you must request a ballot by Wednesday. More than 43,000 signatures is what led to this recall election of the county executive. And since then, White announced that he likely won't seek re-election when his term wraps up next year, but didn't completely rule it out.
All right. And later in the stream, if you stay with us, you're going to see a one-on-one sit down between Frank White and our very own Samantha Bourne, our KCTV5 investigative reporter. And with that being said, we are going to take a break and we'll be right back.
From the fans to the first whistle, it's everything you would want for a perfect night of high school football. But this game between University School of Milwaukee and Shoreland Lutheran with more than just a big win on the line.
I'm a little nervous. I feel like that's really natural.
You never know when another opportunity is going to come around.
And we're looking forward to them to be able to make and create history when they are the first females to score a point at USM.
Sophomores Anna Griesbach and Izzy Gonzalez Rodriguez taking their skills from the soccer pitch to the football field, becoming the first girls in program history to suit up as kickers after kicker Pearson Ludke went down with a broken collarbone during the season opener.
And we tried out and we thought it was really fun, and at first it was kind of a joke, and then we were like, well, what if we actually joined, because he thought that we were capable, and we just decided to take the chance.
Football's a little bit harder than most soccer balls, but I think now I'm used to it. My legs kind of used to everything.
Now, Coach Summers says he didn't even have to watch Anna and Izzy kick the ball. He just had to hear the sound. And they were on the team.
And on Friday night, Gonzalez Rodriguez got her chance, and Shoreland Lutheran blocked the kick. But Coach Summers says it's a long season ahead.
They're both really solid. They're excited to be here. They're always like, what more can we do? And so we always kind of have them put the work in. Again, they're a big part of our program and a big part of our team.
In River Hills, TJ Dysart, WISN 12 News.
Welcome back to the live desk. This was not what I wanted to show, but it's fine anyway. So we have the owners of the Bevel Barber Lounge, Casey and Erica Murph. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thanks for having us this morning.
Thank you so much.
So what I wanted to do was give you a nice introduction.
Here we go.
This is what we love about just live television. It just, it just does its thing. But the Bevel Barber Studio, they want to make sure that you feel more fabulous than when you arrive. They want you to allow their skilled professional team to take care of you. And they know that it's not always easy to find the time or money that allows you to pamper yourself, which is why they offer quick and high quality treatments that won't cost an arm and a leg. And that part is so important. I feel like so many beauty services these days, especially nowadays, they just cost so much more than they used to.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yes.
Our goal is not to break the bank. People still have families to feed, and there's nothing like being able to, get a service, especially as gentlemen. I feel like we as ladies, we have a lot of opportunities, but, our men out there, we felt really needed a place to unwind, to be able to decompress while getting those quality services.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like it's also about the quality as well, and that's the atmosphere that the Bevel brings to the table. When you walk in, you see the presence of an experience. So that's really what we wanted to bring, not just to Kansas City, but to the east side of Cruz. So we're so ecstatic and happy, and everything went so well during the grand opening. So.
Grand opening was this past Saturday.
Yes.
And it was absolutely amazing. So it takes a community and a village for sure.
Yes, that is exciting. So walk us through your journey. What got you into just barbering, cosmetology?
So I've been barbering since, I like to say it this way. I've been cutting hair since I was 14 years old. So my father, I was been an entrepreneur as well. So I had a lawn business, and my father seen me making, quite a bit of money. So to make me be more responsible, say, hey, you need to start paying for your haircuts. So I decided I had a knack for watching people do things and be able to mimic that. So I would watch my barber, and he would, went to Walmart, got my first pair of clippers, my wall clippers, and my Andis liners, and started practicing on myself. Had a little what we call chili bowls at first, but it started to graduate and started to get better, and I started cutting people's hair around the neighborhood. But I didn't see at the time, had a vision for barbering, so I did what most people did, right? We went to college, got the degrees, master's degrees, went into IT for over 20 years, and still cut hair off and on as a passion and an outlet. And I just decided one day after, dealing with the woes of corporate America, nothing against corporate America, but for me, I didn't feel fulfilled. And so I just decided to bet on myself and created this vision for the Bevel, a vision that not only just encompasses quality and an atmosphere of service, but also helps to mentor young and up and coming professionals, because I saw the gap in between going to the barber college and graduating and going to the real world, because with being exposed to corporate America and being in higher education, I've seen where you're going to a barber school for 10 months, and then you're touching on the subject of business, but then then you get out to the real world and you really don't have a lot of the knowledge that I feel like is needed to help you be successful as barber. So that's why I brought the idea of becoming of the Bevel itself, so that barbers can help build their clientele, can focus more on the craft itself, and not have to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to survive.
So tell me more about the Bevel. I mean, it sounds like, based on what you were just saying, that it's more than about cutting hair. It's more than it just being a barber shop.
So as I was saying, it's an atmosphere that where you can come in, you sit down, stand up with confidence. You can come in, have a cocktail as far as our membership. You can sit outside and have a cigar, or you can just come in, have a good time. but also it's a learning lab for up and coming barbers. So you can come in as a new barber. I'll have you set up with social media, have you set up with a profile, and then we'll sit down and talk about your goals. We'll talk about what is your next year plan, what's your 5-year goals, what's your 10-year goals. You know, we'll talk about those type of things to kind of figure out, okay, what's the plan? How can I help you be successful in this industry? Because this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you get out of it what you put into it. You know, so I always like to say, if you treat this like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. So how can I help you become the best business owner you can possibly be as an individual and as a brand?
Absolutely, and we've recently launched our nonprofit side of the Bevel, and the purpose of that nonprofit is to be able to provide resources for our up-and-coming barbers to cover travel expenses for barber conventions. If they want to register to compete in barber competitions that happen nationally, we want to be able to cover those funds for those barbers, and then also be able to provide a high quality starter kit. You know, like Murph said here, we don't want them getting their brand new clippers, you know, from Walmart. No diss Walmart, sorry, Channel 5. But we want to be able to provide them with those high quality tools so that they can be fully prepared as they come into this environment of being a professional barber.
And just the talk of mentorship and guidance, because I feel like financial literacy in general is already one thing that a lot of us don't get growing up, let alone how to start a business, how to fund your business, and how to sustain your business. So what were some of the lessons that you've learned in growing the Bevel, and I mean, to the point that you all have expanded?
It's a faith walk. To be honest with you, you know, it's, you know, every day is a different decision that can catapult you to a different decision, a different outcome. You know, so you gotta take the daily wins. You know, every day is a daily win. You know, make sure that you have the right team around you. Have a team of accountants. You know, at first you may be doing it on your own. But as you grow, as you scale, you need to start having your team around you, because you can't, I don't care what anybody say, there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire.
That's right.
You know, and so you have to have a positive team around you, people that believe in your vision, and people that can help you along the way. So you may not have the high-end firms that can help you build it to a certain level, but you'll get to that point. So you just have to make sure that you understand your strengths and weaknesses, and understand when you need to grab people and talk to people and network, because networking is key. I always tell my barbers, I tell my kids, it's like, you can be the smartest person in the room, but if you don't shake somebody's hand, nobody's ever going to know. So you have to shake hands, you have to network with people, and you just never know who God will bring into your life to where it can help you along the way.
I know all about that. That's really great advice.
Yeah.
So how is it working together as a couple? How has that been?
For me, it's been a blast. This is not our first business that we've done together as a couple, and it's been an absolute blast to be able to operate on our strengths. And what a great opportunity to strengthen your marriage than to go into business together.
Yes.
But I wouldn't trade it for anything. Where areas where I'm not as skilled at, I don't have a barber background, but I love collaboration. I love operations. I'm a liaison at heart, so to be able to, you know, pull different organizations, different people. Shout out to the elected officials that came to our grand opening. Being able to utilize that background that I've been able to grow and develop over the years, and pour it into his vision. That's really an opportunity that really God just threw in our lap, and we're so grateful for that.
Yeah, you know, I believe any business partnership is like a marriage itself. So being that we were already, you know, best friends before we got married and before we were together, we already had that relationship and that rapport. And like my wife said, we've had other businesses before, and, you know, I had this vision for it, and we've been building it, and I've been building it for a while. And just her skill set from what she brings to the table, we both know our strengths and weaknesses, and we can come to the table and kind of talk things out and communicate. Communication is so important. when it comes to any business, regardless if your spouse is your business partner or not. It's so important when it comes to business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so there's one thing I see here on your site where it says that you have a haven of sophistication where tradition meets transformation. And when I think about tradition, you know, the barber shop, the beauty salon is like the safe space, right? It's where we come together. It's where, you know, sometimes for people it could turn into a therapy session. Sometimes when we do stories and we want to find out what the neighborhoods are saying, sometimes we stop in the barber shops or we stop in the beauty salons. Just talk about how the Bevel is kind of transforming that tradition by creating this upscale environment, you know, in a place where you walk in and maybe you're not having the best day, but then when you get that cut, you know, or that style, you come out feeling just more confident than when you walked in.
Definitely. You know, despite what was said years ago that we weren't essential, I know that a lot of people before they have their important moments in their life. We're a part of those things. The beautician, the nail technicians, the barbers, we're a part of people's everyday moments. All those important moments are your first dates, your proms, your interviews, things of that nature, your first day at school. We're a part of those moments, you know. So, you know, when it comes to the traditional side of barbering, I wanted people to feel comfortable, be in an environment where they feel comfortable, no matter your color background, no matter, you know, your race, creed, or your sexual orientation. I wanted anybody to come there, whether it's a single mom or a single mom dropping off their son at the barbershop. I want them to feel confident, say, you know what, if I drop my kids off there, if I'm at the Bevel, then I feel comfortable. I don't feel like I'm gonna be offended by a conversation that's there or the music that's being played. I want an environment to where I can come there and relax and feel comfortable and be confident that I'm gonna walk out there with a good service.
Yeah, absolutely. And just even talking about innovation, we've had clients who different levels of disabilities and abilities. Shout out to the Soul of Santa, who has great programming on helping this critical population. So we do want to be able to have that safe space. We have been able to innovate to provide that environment where these real conversations can happen through podcasts. Shout out to Black Excellence and Craig Smith, amazing videographer and MC here in Kansas City. We've been able to do podcasts that talk about just leadership and growth and visioning, and really like what gives people the audacity to be amazing. These are conversations that need to be had because it's not just for the barbershop. We want these conversations to be available for everyone who can just click a button and listen to it. You never know what someone could be going through. And if someone out of, I don't know, Chicago, Michigan, California gets a hold of that and it can help them, we've been able to play a role in that. And not everyone gets to say that. And so for us, like, that's a true blessing to be able to innovate in that way.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, we wanted to open up a platform through our podcast, Share Conversations, that we're going to be have some pilot episodes coming up here pretty soon that talks about those type of things, that kind of give us a broader audience and a broader platform to do what you said, like be that therapy session, that maybe there's somebody that's going through something that's in an industry that may not be barbering, but it may be music, because we're also going to be focused on broadcasting and highlighting Kansas City music by having different Tiny Desk concerts there. So we wanted to highlight Kansas City, also highlight leadership, highlight the journey. Let people know that it's just not about the Instagram, the nice cars. It was a journey there. Everybody has a story, whether it be Jeff Bezos or, you know, or whoever you know that's been successful, they had a journey. Absolutely. So we want to make sure that we capture that and show people that there's a journey, and then no matter what you're doing, it can be done. You just got to put one step forward.
Yep.
That's awesome. And I know you all just had a grand opening. You touched on that. Yeah. So what more can the community expect from the Bevel? What are your future goals and expansion? I know you just opened this one, but yes. I'm sure you have a vision.
Yes, definitely have a vision. So this is, when I talked about before that I was being exposed to the corporate America and different aspects of business, and I have a lot of great mentors in my life, like Paul Kopecki, that has been phenomenal on helping me, teaching me how to build assets. So this is a franchise business model. So no matter what level, when we're looking at areas in other areas in Kansas City that are being developed right now in the Kansas side, 18th and Vine side, in South Kansas City, anywhere where there's going to be development, we want to be a part of it. We want to bring that brand there. We want to be a part of uplifting that area and uplifting that neighborhood and uplifting that community. So anywhere that there's going to be some development, we want to plan on being there. So those are the future plans for the Bevel. So this is not going to be the only location at all. So we want to you know, if how many location God wants us to have, you know, we're pulling forward. I practice on being uncomfortable, and so we also want to make sure that we're touching the community as much as possible. So that's why we have different programs with like my wife was saying, with Solar Santa that we're working on. Also with the Manheim neighborhood district, you know, there's programs we're working with them. Also with Big Brothers Big Sisters. We have a program with them, and we're partnering with them to where we're offer free haircuts for any of the littles that come out. You know, so those are the type of things that we want to do, and connect with other organizations that have a community of people that need these type of services. And the best way that we can do that is offering haircuts that we can help them in those areas.
That's awesome. And what I really love just about what you're doing is just showing that there is more to just cutting hair. There's more to just the art in itself, but that, you know, it can be mentorship, that it can be reaching out to the younger generation and, you know, creating these experiences. So this is really great work you guys are doing. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Of course. So let's talk to the people about how they can find you guys if they want to come and experience the Bevel.
Absolutely. You can reach us in person, 4329 Troost. We have walk-ins every Tuesday and Wednesday. For those technologically advanced, go to the Bevel KC. You can book your appointment there. Also, we're on socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah, we're on TikTok.
Working on that.
We're working on TikTok. We're working on our LinkedIn. That's when I tell you about teams. That's one of the things we're looking for is team members to help us with that, because that's a whole lane. That's a whole.
And social media. I mean, it'll
yes.
really get you on the map. People love looking at stuff like that. Like, I've moved from city to city over the last several years, and the first thing I look for before I go somewhere is I look up hair salons. Like, who's going to be doing my hair when I get there?
and looking at those reviews, right?
Yes.
Sure.
I do not play around about it.
No, absolutely not. And we got to gear up for the World Cup that's coming too.
Right.
Kansas City. So yeah, that's another thing that we'll sort of be working on, is that strategy. So shout out to the city of Kansas City. Nia Webster has been crucial in getting that information about the World Cup out. The city has programming, World Cup KC. Thank you for that staff for continuously providing education to the community that we're personally going to capitalize on and get our business ready for the World Cup in 2026. And I hope you do too.
Yeah, but it'll be here before you know it.
Absolutely.
Time is flying. Well, thank you so much, Erica and Casey, for coming in.
Thank you so much.
It's been great. I really enjoyed our conversation. And we're going to take a quick break. Make sure to visit the Bevel, though.
Yes, come see us. Thank you, Taylor, for having us.
4329 Troost, right next to Equal Minded Cafe.
There you go. We'll be right back. Let me see. There we go. Welcome back into the live desk. Taylor Johnson here. Let's get into some of our national news headlines for the day, starting with the latest in the shooting of Charlie Kirk. So this morning, authorities, they are still searching for a motive in last week's shooting death of conservative personality Charlie Kirk during a public debate event at Utah Valley University. The suspect was taken into custody last week, and he could make his first court appearance as soon as tomorrow. CBS News' Bradley Blackburn is in New York with more on the investigation and Kirk's funeral plans.
Authorities are sharing new details about the suspect charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk last week. The Utah County Sheriff says 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is being closely watched in a special housing unit.
He does come from a conservative family, but his ideology was very different than his family.
On multiple Sunday news shows, Utah Governor Spencer Cox said Robinson is not cooperating, though his friends and relatives are.
The roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative.
The governor added that at this time, it is not clear if the roommate's identity is relevant to the case. According to a police affidavit, a family member told police that the suspect had mentioned that Kirk would be in Utah ahead of last week's event. Vigils honoring Kirk were held around the country yesterday, including in Washington, D.C.
Charlie Kirk did so much in his short life.
Kirk's public memorial service is scheduled for Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona.
We lost a great person.
President Trump says he plans to attend.
Well, it's a troubling reality when it comes to social media, violent content online. While some apps have deleted the gruesome video of Charlie Kirk getting shot, many conversations are happening following his death. The internet, however, is a revolving door, and it can be tough for kids to process videos they come across or for apps to flag the content before they see it. Therapists are now warning about the mental health toll for children. We talked with one expert who suggests keeping your questions open-ended for any discussions.
What did you experience? What did that bring up for you? How did you feel? What did your body do? And now you can begin to help them process. So don't make an assumption that they felt a certain way.
Some other suggestions to consider: giving your child a safe space to talk about it and avoid minimizing in order to calm them. In other news, the Trump administration officials say an agreement has been reached with China to keep TikTok operational in the United States. Treasury Secretary Bessent said a framework deal has been reached, and President Trump will meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping Friday to finalize it. Bessent said the priority has been making sure the deal is fair for the Chinese and completely respects U.S. national security concerns. A bipartisan bill signed by former President Joe Biden last year banned TikTok in the U.S. unless its China-based owner ByteDance divested its stake in the U.S. assets of the social media company. However, President Trump put enforcement of the ban on hold several times. Well, let's turn to some happy news. Pope Leo, he had his 70th birthday over the weekend, and his hometown suburb in Chicago made sure to celebrate. Christian Picos reports.
Happy birthday to ya.
The Vatican might be 4,000 miles away.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
But that's not stopping the faithful from celebrating Pope Leo XIV's 70th birthday outside his childhood home in Dalton.
Happy blessed birthday, Pope Leo, and we're just so honored to be able to celebrate your life on today.
There is power.
Dalton neighbors and community leaders coming together on a sunny Sunday morning to sing together and pray together. Deborah White is the Dalton Village Minister.
It's a sense of pride because it was needed. For the community, it's brought new light, new community awareness, new fellowship.
Those celebrating releasing white balloons as one in the Pope's honor. Special Pope Leo cookies were also on hand.
You can drive by any time, and when you get out the car, you see people just from all over the world.
Village trustee Tammy Brown says the Pope's home is bringing new light to Dalton.
Look where we are today. knowing that the Pope once lived here has brought unity to the community.
It's always incredible when you see the Pope.
Homer Glen's Bernice Saflarski just got back from a trip to see the Pope in Vatican City. She says she's filled with pride being able to celebrate the pontiff from his childhood home.
This is not our first visit here. We've been here before. We were just so proud that he's the first American Pope, and he just seems to be so loving. Just his smile is just incredible.
Mayor Jason House says the village plans to celebrate the Pope's birthday every year, creating a special annual tradition for this community.
All right, moving on to our national headlines as they continue. Secretary of State Marco Rubio traveled to Israel over the weekend, meeting with Israeli Prime Minister and pushing for answers on a way forward in Gaza. This as President Trump is pushing for new sanctions against Russia over the war in Ukraine. Bradley Blackburn is tracking the latest on multiple international challenges.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio went to the Western Wall in Jerusalem Sunday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was a show of support for Israel, even as President Trump says he's unhappy with continued violence in its conflict with Hamas. Last week, an Israeli airstrike targeted a Hamas negotiating team in Qatar. Qatar's prime minister called it, quote, state terrorism.
Qatar's been a very great ally. So Israel and everybody else, we have to be careful. When we attack people, we have to be careful.
With the prime minister Monday, Secretary Rubio said he's pushing for a path forward.
There is still a Hamas, there are still 48 hostages, and there's still a war going on. And all of these things standing in the way of a better future for the people of Gaza and a peaceful end to what's happening now.
In recent days, the Israeli military has intensified airstrikes on Gaza City and is demanding a full evacuation of about 1 million people. The UN estimates more than 100,000 have fled since August. Meanwhile, over the weekend, the president also focused on Russia's war with Ukraine. He's pushing members of NATO to stop buying Russian oil as leverage to help end the war.
Europe is buying oil from Russia. I'm willing to do sanctions, but they're going to have to toughen up their sanctions commensurate with what I'm doing.
The president also said countries should put tariffs on China, another purchaser of Russian oil. It comes as Trump administration officials negotiate with China over trade and a potential sale of TikTok.
In other news today, the U.S. and U.K. will sign an agreement this week, ushering in new deals on nuclear power between companies in the two countries. Now, one of the things that the accord will do is make it easier to build new nuclear power stations in both nations. The announcement of the deal comes ahead of President Trump's state visit to the U.K. this week. The British government says the agreement between D.C. and London clears the way for a major expansion of new nuclear projects in the United Kingdom. It also is consistent with moves by the Trump administration this year to support nuclear energy. That includes measures to speed up reactor testing and expand uranium enrichment. And now, here is your Money Watch.
Foods is recalling some batches of its Vegan is Believin' plant-based white cheddar, and here comes truffle cheddar pastas. The FDA warns the product's labels do not alert consumers that those flavors may contain milk or cashews, respectively, which could cause a severe or life-threatening reaction for people with dairy or nut allergies. Consumers can return the recalled pastas to the place of purchase for a refund. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle made history at the domestic weekend box office, becoming the first Japanese anime to debut at the top spot after raking in an estimated $70 million. Horror sequel The Conjuring Last Rites nabbed the second spot with $26 million, and period film Downton Abbey The Grand Finale rounded out the top three, bringing in more than $18 million. And whether you root for the Crimson Tide, the Wolverines, or the Buckeyes, today after 5 p.m., Chipotle is offering buy one, get one free entrees to all football fans who wear college jerseys to participating locations. The deal is limited to 5 free items per check and must be claimed in person. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
And the Emmy goes to Adolescence.
British crime drama Adolescence was the big winner at the 77th Emmy Awards. The Netflix series won the limited anthology series or movie categories for Outstanding Series, Directing, Writing, Supporting Actor for Owen Cooper, Supporting Actress for Erin Doherty, and Lead Actor for Stephen Graham.
I'm just a mixed-race kid from a block of flats in a place called Kirby. So for me, to be here today in front of my peers and to be acknowledged by you is the utmost humbling thing I could ever imagine in my life.
Seth Rogen, The Studio.
In the comedy categories, The Studio was the big winner, taking home 4 Emmys, with Seth Rogen winning Lead Actor.
I've never won anything in my life. When I was a kid, I bought a used bowling trophy at an estate sale. And my parents were like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should probably buy that.
And returning to the stage for writing, directing, and outstanding comedy series.
It's getting embarrassing. I really appreciate it, in all honesty.
The Pit.
Medical drama The Pit won 3 Emmys for Outstanding Drama Series, Catherine LaNasa winning Supporting Actress, and Noah Wyle for Lead Actor, marking his first Emmy win.
To anybody who's going on shift tonight or coming off shift tonight, thank you for being in that job. This is for you.
And the Emmy goes to The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Arguably the biggest standing ovation of the night went to The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and its win for Outstanding Talk Show.
Sometimes you only truly know how much you love something when you get a sense that you might be losing it. And 10 years later, in September of 2025, my friends, I have never loved my country more desperately. God bless America. Stay strong, be brave, and if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy and punch a higher floor. Woo!
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Hello? The 30th anniversary release of Pixar's Toy Story landed in 5th place, bringing in $3.5 million.
It took me a while to realize the truth of this. This is walk or die.
The adaptation of Stephen King's The Long Walk stepped off in 4th place with $11.5 million.
The world is changing. The way we talk, the way we dress, the way we deal with each other.
Downton Abbey, the grand finale, bowed in 3rd on ticket sales of $18.1 million.
There's an evil here. Something I've felt before.
Last weekend's winner, The Conjuring Last Rites, slipped from 1st to 2nd place with $26.1 million, bringing its 2-week total to just over $131 million. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie Infinity Castle stormed into a first-place debut with an estimated $70 million opening. That's on top of the nearly $283 million the film has made outside North America, according to Box Office Mojo. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Welcome back to the live desk, and let's talk some sports, shall we? Unfortunately, we are not waking up on a victory Monday as the Eagles took down the Chiefs 20-17 in their Week 2 Super Bowl rematch. KCTV5 sports director Marlia Campbell is at Arrowhead with how the team is responding to a tough start to the season.
The Chiefs haven't walked up this tunnel fresh off a loss since Christmas of 2023.
I know it sucks to hear it for the fans, but I feel like we're close, and so all we can do is just continue to work and continue to get after it.
The Chiefs are now off to their first 0-2 start since 2014, thanks to a 2017 loss to the reigning Super Bowl champs. This also marks the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era the Chiefs have lost 3 in a row, dating back to last season.
It's tough, but adversity builds character, and we can come together. We got the team, we got the guys to figure this out and make a change. You know, it's only first quarter of the season. It's 2 games. You got 17 games, so it's a long journey ahead.
We'll play another great defense this week, and so it'll be another challenge for us. And I mean, all we can do is get back to work and continue to work so that we can kind of iron out those wrinkles and be better as offense.
The Chiefs look to get back in the win column this Sunday on the road against another 0-2 team, the New York Giants. Reporting at Arrowhead Stadium, Marlia Campbell, KCTV5 Sports.
And KCTV5's Katie Marr tells us that even though the Chiefs were pretty disappointed, the guys in the locker room still walked away from the close game with a lot of positives on the offensive side of the ball.
The Chiefs locker room was solemn after a 20-17 loss to the Eagles.
It hurts. You know, it's going to sting, which it should. You know, this is a passionate group, and we want to play at our best, you know, and the end goal is always to win.
This Super Bowl rematch wasn't just about getting payback. It was also about avoiding an 0-2 start. The franchise hasn't found itself in this position since 2014.
It goes year from year. You're not going to be, you know, perfect every single year, and obviously us players were more pissed off than anybody about it. Losing a game, so I'm not sitting here giving us excuses or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but you got to walk that line of, you know, being pissed off about it, but using that anger and frustration and funneling it and turning it into something good.
Our attitude remains the same. How we handle our business remains the same, and we didn't have the things fall our way these past 2 weeks, but it's nothing to hold our head over, and something we got to just continue to just grow up on.
Missed opportunities stand out in several spots of this game, but the biggest one was a drop in the fourth quarter by Travis Kelce in the end zone. The locker remains 100% behind the future Hall of Famer, who was the leading receiver in this one with 61 yards.
Travis, man, we all love him here. You know, he brings a lot of energy each and every day. We feed off him, you know, and even though he made that mistake, you know, we still got his back, you know, and great player, man. We love him.
I mean, once it happened, we flushed it. You know, we got to move on. We can't really dwell on the play. That guy done made that play 100 times, you know, so you know, it is what it is.
Though this one stings for everyone involved, they know they have to wash it quickly. They're next heading to New York for a primetime matchup with the Giants on Sunday night at Arrowhead Stadium. Katie Marr, KCTV5 Sports.
And with the Chiefs' fall to the Eagles, they're starting the season again 0-2 for the first time since 2014. Our very own Neil Jones has more from inside the Eagles' winning locker room.
Chiefs players, coaches, and fans might be frustrated, but the Eagles players still regard this team very highly.
It's hard to come here and win here. We played a great team, a great defense, and we knew it was going to be a dogfight, and we got the win. That's one thing that matters.
The Chiefs battled the defending Super Bowl champions to the final seconds, thanks in large part to a great effort from Patrick Mahomes, who puts the team on his shoulders. This run gives KC a 10-7 lead in the second quarter. But the Eagles are able to make enough big plays to answer. This Jalen Hurts pass to Devontae Smith sets up a short touchdown.
Yeah, just, you know, basically we knew it was zero, making the check, making sure that we was on the same page and just going out there executing it.
The TD comes off of the famous tush push. Coach Andy Reid doesn't like the way the refs spot the football on the tush push.
It was a tough game. They always do a good job stopping the run. Their backers, their secondary, they do a very good job. You know, you can't make mistakes against those guys.
Now the Chiefs need to play a clean game, but this Mahomes pass bounces off of Travis Kelce's hands, and the Eagles return the interception 41 yards.
Everything's not going to be pretty, but, you know, you have to keep fighting and just going out there. And, you know, ultimately it comes down to what team take care of the ball better.
Probably turnovers. I mean, it was really a battle. I mean, you saw it. It was a battle to the end. So really hard-fought game.
Mahomes has one more big play in his bag. This 49-yard pass to Tyquan Thornton cuts the lead to 3 with just 3 minutes to go. but the Eagles are able to run out the clock. So the Chiefs fall to 0-2 on the season, the first time that's happened in over a decade. At Arrowhead Stadium, Neil Jones, KCTV5 Sports.
Welcome to KCTV5 Plus. I'm KCTV5 investigative reporter Samantha Boring. By the end of this month, Jackson County voters will decide if Frank White will keep his seat as county executive or be recalled. While White makes his voice heard often, it's rarely on camera. I first asked in early July if we could get a longer sit-down interview with White. We finally got that chance in early September. We talked for about 30 minutes, no questions off the table. We had a lot to cover: property taxes, the stadiums, his time as county executive, and the recall. I asked about it all. Here at KCTV5, we felt it was fair to bring you this interview in full because you might have some of the same questions that we asked, and we want you to hear from him yourself. So here's our exclusive interview with the county executive. Well, thank you for joining us to do this interview, and lots to talk about, so I just want to get started. So you started back in this building here in the Jackson County Courthouse in 2014 and then moved into the county executive seat in 2016.
Right.
But before that, we know you came from a long background in baseball. Today, how does it feel sitting in the county executive seat?
It feels great. I mean, when I think back to how I started, I got up one day, I was working at Truman Road in Chestnut and decided I wanted to try out for the Royals Baseball Academy and talk my boss, Mr. Bozart, in a couple of days off to try out for the team. So I went down to Old Municipal Stadium and for 2 days just tried out, and they selected me to go to the Experimental Baseball Academy. And so I went from making $100 a week to $50 a month and room and board, and most importantly, an opportunity. And to be able to turn that opportunity into an 18-year baseball career was pretty fantastic. And then to be able to build on that, build on my years of service in our community, and my name recognition, and my name has always stood for character, professionalism, integrity, and I think that was the one thing that really springboarded me into politics in 2014.
Yeah. 9 years later, what are you most proud of as county executive?
The progress we made. I think we made tremendous progress here at the county, from benefits to the associates, infrastructure, and being able to really correct a lot of things that needed correcting, deferred maintenance, things like that. So we've been able to, our new detention center, we've been able to really improve that situation. We should be able to move in next April. We've been able to start our community health programs, I Healthy Jackson County. At that time during COVID, it was I Healthy Eastside Kansas City. And so mainly it was just one of those things where we just recognized that the community was definitely had the health equity wasn't quite there in our community. So we decided to build on the confidence of educating our residents on the vaccine, how important it was, and I could just been able to combine with UMKC, University Health, and Children's Mercy to bring this program together, and getting support of our legislature to move it forward has been tremendous, and it's an ongoing program that I'm very proud of. Our Kids to the Park program I'm very proud of, taking urban kids to Eastern Jackson County to enjoy those amenities and boating and swimming in the lake and things like that. I'm proud of that. But I think mainly I'm just proud of the people that I've brought into the administration, the people that have worked hard every day to keep us going, keep moving the county forward, and there's still more to do, and I'd like to be able to do that. But I'm just proud of the fact that I've just been able to be reelected multiple times, which shows that the community has a lot of trust in me and to do this job and to be able to do it for as long as I've done it. It's just been very impressive.
Yeah. You've been in a lot of different avenues when it comes to being county executive, which makes sense. You're one of the top dogs here in the county. A lot of topics are covered when you're in this role. So I want to talk about some of the ones that people might be keeping an eye out on the most. So let's start with property taxes.
Okay.
So of course, it's been a hot topic the last few years. We know in 2018, 2022, 2023, people started to get upset when they were getting back their property assessments. They were seeing high increases, some people more than 50%. Today, there's that ongoing class action lawsuit, and there's been an order by the STC to comply with a 15% cap with the earlier assessments we saw. Now, with all of that, do you believe the county properly followed all the right orders to get to the point of high increases that we first saw in 2022, 2023?
I believe so. I think that the State Tax Commission, they send down the mandate. Our assessor, she puts together a plan. She lets the STC see that plan. And the final analysis comes that the legislature has to approve that plan. And in February 2024, the legislature voted to approve the assessor's 2-year plan. And unfortunately, a lot of them didn't stay with that. They sort of ran away from that. But they are the final call to the plan that the assessor is going to use. I don't have a vote there. So I think that fairness and assessment is something we should all be concerned about, and we should all be discussing on an ongoing basis. But I think the main thing is that it starts at the state, and I think that's where it's got to get fixed at the state. And we push back against the STC for obvious reasons, because our job is to protect the taxpayers, make sure that we're in compliance, and that's what we did. I mean, we met the mandate of 90% of value, and right now you got about 88 counties that are pushing back against the STC because they want you to be at 90% of value, but then they send out mandates that says 15%. And so we opted to go with 15% this year because we didn't want to get into the assessment process where the impact notices have gone out to the residents and then have them throw down another mandate in the middle of that to really screw the process up. So that's why we're at 15% right now.
And I know you just mentioned a little bit about not initially complying with that STC order, and then the county did comply with it. And now people are still wanting to see some kind of relief. And I know you just mentioned fairness. Do you feel that the county was fair throughout that process?
I think we were fair in terms of the mandate that we were offered to deal with. I mean, I think that fairness starts at the top. It starts at the state, and they have to realize that this is going to be a burden or not a burden. And then, like I said, when we send the plan back to them, then they've got to approve that plan. And if they approve that plan, that means the plan is okay. Then it comes to our legislature, then they have to approve that plan. And when they approve the plan, then you feel like, okay, we're on the right track. But I think that we've been aware that when it first came out that it wasn't what everyone expected, but we tried to work with them through our appeals process and so forth to try to get that rectified as best we could.
You know, this year a lot of commercial property owners are seeing an impact with their assessments. A lot of them are saying they're seeing massive increases, just like we saw back in 2022, 2023. Is the county, I know you all had mentioned that they were trying to work, there were some problems this summer, they were trying to make some fixes. Is the county doing anything to fix the situation that commercial property owners are dealing with right now?
Well, we're doing all we can do. I know that when I came into this office in 2016, the commercial property values weren't, they'd gone 10 years and never even looked at commercial property values. So when you continue to kick the can down the road, sooner or later it catches up. And now it's about being fair. And I think that the assessor has worked hard to get to that level of fairness. And I think that those conversations are always going to be had and should be had. But I think also the property owners have to be realistic also and say that would you sell your properties for this number, that type of thing. But it's just, everybody has a responsibility, but our responsibility is to be as accurate as we can and as fair as we can and make sure we communicate the best we can with the residents and with the taxpayers as far as property tax go.
Now, speaking of the assessor and accuracy, there have been claims that things have not been completely accurate throughout this assessment process throughout the years. You appointed Gail McCann-Beatty back in 2018 as county assessor. How do you think she's done these last 7 years?
I think she's done a good job in terms of meeting the mandates of the State Tax Commission. I think there's always going to be conversations about timely noticing, things like that. But when I came in, she was the first real assessor that we've hired that had real assessment backgrounds. In the past, it was some friend of the legislature who was the assessor when I came in. And so the one thing that you have to be cognizant of is that you can find someone to do an appraisal on a house, an appraisal on a building, but it's hard to find one person that can do mass appraisals. Mass appraisals, only a few companies in the country that do mass appraisals, and they can collect the data and so forth and so on and get it out to the people and back to the assessor's office. So I think having her here, she has an understanding of the business, and I think that property tax is always going to be a concern. Every 2 years it's going to come up. Other counties like Johnson County, Wyandotte County, they're every year. But in 2023, even their property taxes soared during that time. So it wasn't just a Jackson County problem. It was a problem in many counties and many states at that time.
All right, let's get into something you're a little more familiar with just from your background, baseball, but also football on the gridiron. The Chiefs and Royals. We saw quite a bit last year with them, with the initiative on the ballot failing. To this day, we still do not know the future of the Chiefs or Royals and what they're planning to do with their stadiums. Why do you think that's the case currently?
Well, I think I'm not sure why they're not communicating at this point. We have sent offers there, term sheets there that are there. But I think that my concern right now is to keep both teams in Jackson County. I think that the important thing that I have to do is negotiate a deal that's good for the taxpayers. And I think that's where we ran into a snag during that last negotiating session, was the fact that we couldn't get them to sit down and agree to a lease agreement. And if you think back to that time, when the legislature voted that tax on the ballot, it wasn't really, there was no agreement in place. We didn't know where the teams were going to go. And I think the people saw the lack of information. The people voted against it because of lack of information. But like I said, my goal is to keep both teams in Kansas City and in Jackson County. And whatever we can do from the county's perspective, we'll be willing to work with them. But you have to come to the table and you have to negotiate.
In the recent meeting that you spoke at with some Democrats a few weeks ago, you said that the current deal is a bad one. Do you think that there is a better deal that could keep the teams here? Well,
the deal that we offered the last time was a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. where it would be 1/3 for the teams, 1/3 for county public safety and infrastructure, and another third for public health. And that's, to me, if you're looking to do a deal of that magnitude, and you look at the fact that the county is paying more than they're getting, then I think the community benefits of the health aspect of it would be the thing that the voters will see and say that we're actually working together and we're actually trying to be partners with the county and the teams together. And so it was a way that everybody could win in that situation. So where you're not giving everything away in the current, like the current lease is, we're pretty much paying way more than we're getting. And I think that's the big thing. So I think we pointed out in there that we're spending almost $54 million a year with about $6 million in return. And I think that is a concern.
You've mentioned that you haven't heard from the teams recently, haven't really been in contact with them. What would be your message right now to Clark Hunt and John Sherman with the future of these franchises?
Oh, I would say that we've supported both teams since 1972. We've supported them in a first-class fashion. We've done everything we can to keep the stadiums in first-class condition, and we'd like to continue that tradition that we've started back in 1972. And we'd be willing to sit down and negotiate and maybe hopefully come up with something that's going to be in the best interest of both teams and the county itself.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your time with the legislature, specifically about your role as county executive. So under the county charter, it states that the county executive shall devote full time to duties of this office. Do you feel that you've followed that every year?
Yes.
How so?
Well, you have to really define what full-time duties are. Is full-time duty is in the office 24 hours without leaving the door? No. Because even as executives, you play golf, you go fishing, you take vacation, you do a lot of things that normal people do.
Now, another thing within the county charter that's a requirement as county executive is attend meetings of the county legislature and participate in discussions without vote. So I asked the county clerk, how many meetings have you attended so far this year? And she says you've been to 1 out of 34 present here in the building. Where have you been during those meetings?
I don't think that's accurate, but if you look at our county councilors, we've asked that question from the first day I came into office. But our government is structured like the state government, where the governor, and you have your legislature, and the governor doesn't go to legislative meetings. He sends his staff to legislative meetings, and that's how we work here. So they said I have a right to participate if I'm there. But usually when I go to meetings, it's because I'm curious about something, or if I got something to report on that's going on great at the county. But there's no statute that says I'll have to attend their meetings every meeting. So, no, I mean, I do a lot of things. I visit people in rehab centers. I cut ribbons, do groundbreakings. I do a lot of things.
You said you don't think that's accurate. How many would you say you've attended this year then?
I can't give you that number. But even if I attended 9, it's still, I'm not required.
Okay. What about the voters who are frustrated when they don't see you at those meetings? Maybe they want to speak to you. What do you have to say to them?
Voters?
Voters, residents, people that might be there wanting to speak with you about issues they might have within the county.
Well, these are not county executive meetings. These are legislative meetings. And so their comments would be to the legislature and not directly to me as the county executive.
So another reason we wanted to speak with you and sit down with you was regarding the recall election. By the end of this month, voters will be able to head to the polls. They're already voting now to decide if they want to recall you from this position. Now, we know you've tried to fight this in the legislature, in court. Where do you stand now with the entire recall situation?
Well, I think it's not in the best interest of the county. I don't think it's in the best interest of the taxpayers either. You have 5% of the people trying to overturn the majority votes. I mean, there was 118,000 people that voted for me to serve You have 5% of the people trying to overturn the majority vote. So, I mean, there was 118,000 people that voted for me to serve.
From the fans to the first whistle, it's everything you would want for a perfect night of high school football. But this game between University School of Milwaukee and Shoreland Lutheran with more than just a big win on the line.
I'm a little nervous. I feel like that's really natural. You never know when another opportunity is going to come around.
And we're looking forward to them to be able to make and create history when they are the first females to score a point at USM.
Sophomores Anna Griesbach and Izzy Gonzalez-Rodriguez taking their skills from the soccer pitch to the football field, becoming the first girls in program history to suit up as kickers after kicker Pearson Ludke went down with a broken collarbone during the season opener.
And we tried out and we thought it was really fun, and at first it was kind of a joke, and then we were like, well, what if we actually joined, because he thought that we were capable, and we just decided to take the chance.
Football's a little bit harder than most soccer balls, but I think now I'm used to it. My legs kind of used to everything.
Now, Coach Summers says he didn't even have to watch Anna and Izzy kick the ball. He just had to hear the sound. And they were on the team.
And on Friday night, Gonzalez-Rodriguez got her chance, and Shoreland Lutheran blocked the kick. But Coach Summers says it's a long season ahead.
They're both really solid. They're excited to be here. They're always like, what more can we do? And so we always kind of have them put the work in. Again, they're a big part of our program and a big part of our team.
In River Hills, TJ Dysart, WISN 12 News.
Watch a 1,000-year-old Viking ship make a 115-yard journey over 10 hours, a move that's been in the making for over 10 years. Unearthed in 1904, the Oseberg was one of 3 Viking-era ships found in Norway, and according to the Museum of the Viking Age in Oslo, is the most well-preserved Viking ship in the world. But in 2012, museum officials discovered the ships were rapidly deteriorating due to humidity and subtle vibrations, and decided to move them to a brand new climate-controlled building. No easy feat, the move took 10 years of planning and the construction of a ceiling-mounted vibration-resistant crate to gingerly move the 71-foot vessel at a glacial pace. And they did. Traveling at only 10 feet per hour, the hulking ship was slowly but surely moved into place in its first new home in nearly a century. Now the museum will turn its focus to relocating the remaining 2 even more delicate vessels. Another meticulously executed moving operation, or in this case, removing operation, was needed in Mexico City after a beverage truck fell through a collapsed sinkhole on a city street. No one was injured, but onlookers were aghast as the Jarritos branded truck fell rear first and continued to sink. Local officials said the likely culprit was a collapse in the aging drainage system. Emergency crews were able to eventually remove the truck from the hole and begin work on repairs to the street. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth. Watch a 1,000-year-old Viking ship make a 115-yard journey over 10 hours, a move that's been in the
And before we go this morning, you know we absolutely love to talk about food right over here at the Live Desk. So today is a day when Americans can double up on one of their favorite foods. That's because today, September 15th, is National Double Cheeseburger Day. While the hamburger sandwich first appeared in the 19th or early 20th century, there's a dispute over exactly where that happened. But regardless of the debate, there's no doubt that the burger has become a culinary icon in the U.S. Over the years, burgers have gotten bigger with essential added on ingredients like cheese and bacon. And to celebrate the day, it is suggested you grill out or share pictures of your meal at your favorite burger joint on social media. And mine just so happens to be Five Guys. I really enjoy Five Guys burgers. Well, thank you again for joining us today to start your Monday here at the Live Desk. Be sure to visit our website, KCTV5.com, for all your news updates. And our News at Noon is going to be starting in less than a minute with Carolina Cruz and Bill Hurlbrink.